Okay, so in this topic in particular, right, Web3 and metaverse, and I guess we could talk about some AI inside of there as well. It is a topic that, you know, everybody knows the words, and unless you really sit and take the time to research it and understand exactly what it is a little bit aloof in a sense. And so, even though I've heard a lot of people talk about Web3, the metaverse, and I guess like how AI is related to all of that, it still doesn't, you know, I can't teach it to somebody else. And so that is what we're going to talk about today, if that is okay with you.
Perfect. All good. All good.
I didn't know that at all. Okay, so thank you everyone who is listening right now. Today I have with me Funds Jacobs. Now, Funds has a very impressive resume as far as I can tell. I met him in Amsterdam in November of 2022 when I went on a business school trek to Media Monks, where he currently works. At that event, Funds shared with the students, a little bit about how Media Monks is using the metaverse to help companies in terms of branding and stuff. And when we left the event, we all took the bus, and Funds happened to be in the bus. And I remember we continued the conversation, and I had a million questions then. And so I always knew that I was going to ask him to come on the podcast and talk about what he knows so well. So, Funds, I will let you maybe introduce just a little bit about yourself that you think is relevant to the topic we're going to talk about today, and then we'll jump straight into the conversation.
Amazing. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. And indeed, it was a pleasant conversation. Good to hear that you had fun while you visited our office. So I'm Fons Jacobs, calling in from Amsterdam. I am currently Senior Director Innovations at Media Monks. Media Monks is a digital creative agency. We are 9,500 people big at the moment. We have about 55 offices all over the world. And within that, I very much focused on using new trends and technologies in order to help our clients and partners reach new and most of the time is younger audiences. And a very big topic in that is what we call the transformation of digital. We've all witnessed digital transformation. We went from an offline and analog world. We went into a digital and online world. We've all seen that transformation. And what we're now seeing, indeed, you already mentioned some topics. There's a lot of stuff happening in the last 2 years, give and take. And what we're seeing there is we like to call it the transformation of digital. So the transformation of our digital lives is going at a rapid speed with new trends and technologies popping up every 6 months almost. We saw blockchain and the metaverse conversation last year. I think gaming is a very, very important topic. And of course, AI started at the end of last year as well. Mix that all together add to that economic weird times makes it very, very challenging for people, for brands, for companies like ourselves, but basically anyone to navigate this. That's what I try to do and try to help other people and businesses to do the same with what I know. I don't like calling myself an expert. I definitely like to call myself an enthusiast. I love this stuff, and it is what I do all day, every day. I'm just very happy that I can talk to anyone about that. So happy to be here.
Lovely. I'm so thrilled. So all right, so let's start at the basics, right? Tell me if I'm correct or not. Web3 is where we want to get to, or are we there already?
Well, definitely not there yet.
Okay.
First of all, for people that don't know, you might think, okay, Web3, what happened to Web1 and Web2?
Yeah.
Well, Web1 was basically the start of the internet, right? When it all started, you could only read on the internet. So you had magazines, you had advertising on there, you had some news and stuff, but you can only read stuff on the internet. Very boring. Then we saw a second burst, which we call Web 2, which is definitely the rise of big tech, the rise of social media, the rise of content. So in all of a sudden, we went from a read-only internet to a read and write internet. So because of these new technologies, these new tech companies that brought Facebook, that brought YouTube, that brought WordPress, like we could make websites ourselves on the internet without being a coder, right? So it gave a lot of more power to a lot of people to actually be able to write on the internet as well, to create.
Mhm.
Again, YouTube, uploading your own videos, creating communities and your profiles on Facebook and all of these things, right? That's Web 2. But in this era, you also have seen a centralization of power on the web, a centralization of your data. We all know about the privacy concerns that caused that. So yes, a lot of people say, hey, my digital lives are being almost controlled by the Amazons, the Googles, the Metas of the world.
Mhm.
And now when we enter, hopefully, a phase of Web 3, we're talking about you can not only read and write on the internet, you can also finally own stuff on the internet. So Web 3 is about ownership. In very short, the reason why I would love to see Web 3 succeed is to make the internet a more honest place for consumers. And what that means is, um, it is very weird, but you basically do not own anything on the internet today. Nothing is yours. Everything is you pay for access on the internet. You not pay for ownership on the internet. Very easy example of that is when you in the realms of gaming. For example, if you play Fortnite or you play Roblox and you buy a
Mhm.
certain skin for a certain game in an online environment, you pay for that, but you don't own it because Epic Games is the owner of Fortnite. Roblox is a publicly traded company, but it has ownership. It has a board of directors. It has shareholders and so forth, and they can make the decision that the thing that you just bought from them, that they can also take it away. So I always give the
Mm.
example. I'm, for example, a big LeBron James fan. I have the LeBron James skin inside Fortnite, so I can play like LeBron James in Fortnite. But hey, let's say LeBron James comes out on Twitter today and says, "Hey, I don't like Epic Games," like whatever he says, something that Epic Games doesn't like. They could take away the skin from the game, right? Then the
Yeah.
thing that I bought for $20 is gone because again, I pay for access to that skin. I don't pay for ownership.
Right. And you
So
don't get back your money, right?
exactly. So going back to then, hey, Web 3 is about ownership on the internet, meaning Web 3 is about decentralization. Web 2 is about blockchain technology. And because of blockchain technology, we can finally own stuff on the internet.
Okay.
And that, in its very essence, is the main blockchain out there, in my humble opinion, is Ethereum. Um, Ethereum is owned by no one, but you can register ownership and transfer ownership between people on there. The blockchain is you cannot change the blockchain. So as soon as something is written in the blockchain, for example, you own this piece of content or whatever, you cannot
Mhm.
change that. So it is in there forever. And again, because nobody can change it, you can finally see who owns what, and it will be yours forever. Now, yes, there's still a lot of caveats to it, etc., but that's the foundation of it. So going back to the question, we're not there yet. We're hoping that
Okay.
the internet will become more decentralized because again, then we will have some control and power back to us as consumers about our data, about our content, about all the stuff that we do on the internet. And I think last point I'll say about this, you probably would like to have the same rights as you have in an offline world. You would like to have that in an online world as well, which is again, if our lives are becoming even more virtual and even more online, then
Mhm.
yes, you will want those same rights as you have in an offline world as well. And those rights currently disappear because we do not use blockchain in all of our application. And that's what I'm hoping to see in the future.
Okay. So then if I understand blockchain, so the blockchain is around already, right? So is it that when we talk about what Web3 is, it's not necessarily a version of the, so is it like a version of the internet, or is it just like the type of governance? that comes with the internet as we have it today? As in, are things going to fundamentally change in the way that the World Wide Web operates? What really defines the three versus where we are today?
So, I mean, it's a good question. Like, blockchain technology is a foundational technology. The ultimate goal is that 10 years from now, we use the web and we do that blockchain based and nobody even talks about it anymore, right?
Okay.
Because it's just a normal thing. The hard thing about explaining people the power of blockchain is I always like to compare it to insurance. When you buy insurance, you're only happy with it. You only see the value of paying for insurance when something goes wrong, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
You pay all year for an insurance, nothing happens. You're like, why the hell did I pay for this, right?
Yeah.
Until you crash your car and it's, oh damn, like, somebody needs to. I have insurance, so they're gonna pay that for me. That's amazing, right? It's the
Yeah.
same with blockchain. So that's why, again, hopefully it is a foundational technology in the end, and that is one of the big challenges that the industry is facing right now when we talk about user experience and user interface and all of these things that should be as good as what we have right now. Because again, the ultimate goal is for nobody to even talk about blockchain anymore, but everything that we use on the web is just standard on a blockchain. And
Hmm.
if then things do go wrong, for example, when a bank collapses or when FTX collapses, and my money is still safe because my money was on the blockchain. My money was not with this single entity that relies on people making right or wrong decisions, right? And that's exactly the thing that we want to take away, is that we don't have to trust other people anymore with our stuff. So until nothing goes wrong, you probably even notice that you're using the blockchain. It's just that when it does, like, we're very happy that hopefully the next version of the internet is built on blockchain technology.
Okay. So something that I do notice is, when the word metaverse started becoming a thing, that it was used almost in the same sentence always, right? So when I was first introduced to the blockchain a few years ago, they talked about the blockchain, and I was at my last job, and we looked at, using it at work in terms of collecting Bitcoin, or like a version of Bitcoin, to start testing it out within a safe space. As the metaverse came into conversation, it felt to me, at least, that Web3 and metaverse kind of is always grouped together. Is it because it's like reliant, like the metaverse is reliant on what Web3 will be, or is it that it will just make the experience better?
Yeah. So another good question, but that very much goes into what is the metaverse,
Mm.
what is it hopefully going to be. So from MediaMonk's perspective, as soon as the metaverse stuff started to happen, like, the word the metaverse is going to disappear in the next couple of years. You already see it slowly disappearing right now.
Mhm.
It is basically like when the internet started, we called it the high speed information highway or
Information
something.
highway, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And we
Yeah.
served on the internet, and we called it the World Wide Web and all that
Yeah.
stuff, right? So it all disappeared. The the point of view that we from Media Moons have until this day, and this started a couple of years ago, is that what we're seeing is a trend that we like to call virtualization. So going back to my earlier point, our digital lives are transforming, are changing rapidly, and we're going to live in an even more digital and therefore virtual world. A part of that is we're going to show up more in virtual spaces. We're going to use virtual spaces for basically the conversation that we're having right now. What is the virtual version of that? Is that us both wearing Apple Vision Pros headsets,
Mm.
and it looks like we're in the same room, and hey, maybe we use haptic gloves, we can even give each other a hand, and we feel present in the same room, although you are in Spain, I believe.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
am in Amsterdam, right? So that is all coming. So that's what we like to call virtualization. You can call that the metaverse. That's fine. It's probably the same thing. It's not, but it's just the word, like, represented a
Okay.
lot of different things for a lot of different people. Again,
Okay.
if we continue to look at this as, hey, our lives are becoming more virtual, then again, going back to my earlier point on why hopefully then this next version of our digital lives is being built on blockchain, because I want to have the same rights. And why a lot of the times the words were connected is because one thing that the people started talking about is, okay, the ultimate metaverse is one connected environment, which again might just be the next version of the internet, but still the
Mhm.
internet. One connected environment where I go from one experience to the other, but I use the same stuff. So how the internet works today is basically if you go to a physical movie theater, you go in with your outfit, you pick your
Mhm.
outfit for the night out, and then you go out of the movie theater and you go to a local bar or restaurant to enjoy a meal or have a drink, right? In the same outfit.
Mhm.
Now, this is a very concrete example, but online, somebody would hold you at the door and say, okay, now give me your outfit because you want to go somewhere else. And the outfit is
Okay.
the movie theater's outfit, right?
Okay. Yeah.
That's now how the internet basically operates. If we want to have interoperability, meaning I can take my outfit wherever I want, and this is not only outfits, this is also the credentials of your digital diploma, your driver's license, like all of these things that you would like to use in an online world
Mhm.
for whatever reason, you can take them because you own them as it is on the blockchain, it's on your digital wallet, your digital ID, and you can bring them to whatever experience you want to enter. In order for that to be possible, it needs to be built on one blockchain so that, again, everything can be connected because of a foundational layer. That's why, yes, the ultimate goal, in my opinion, is for this new version of the internet, virtualization, metaverse, however we're going to call it, is blockchain based because, again, we want to have the same rights that we have in an offline world also in an online world.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. It's a lot clearer now. I think I could explain it to my mom, and I'm learning
There
that
we
there's
go.
this thing called
That's the
the
goal.
mom test, right? Like you have to, if you could explain it to your mom, you're good. Okay, so we talked about Web3 and metaverse and blockchain, and you talked about Ethereum. Did I say it correctly?
Yes.
Ethereum. Now, are there other blockchains right now? Like, if someone is researching blockchain or trying to understand it, will they encounter different ones that they would have to like sift through?
Yes. I'm going to give you my biased, humble opinion.
That is fine.
I'm definitely an Ethereum maxi. I've been through a lot of crypto cycles already. And to me now, for me personally, it's clear that I only touch stuff that is Ethereum based.
Okay.
People might say, okay, but what about Bitcoin? Yes. I think Bitcoin is here forever. Bitcoin is foundational. Yes. But the way I look at it right now is Bitcoin is more digital gold than it is the foundational layer for the next internet, right?
Mm,
Because you cannot do anything on blockchain. And again, I won't go into too deep. You cannot do anything on the Bitcoin blockchain. Ethereum is very much launched to be a smart contract platform, which then unlocks a lot of possibilities. So therefore, yes, I only trust the Ethereum blockchain. It is the biggest, the most safe, and the most secure blockchain out there. It is currently being validated by 500,000 different people. It is too big to be hacked with monetary funds, basically.
mm,
Um, and so that's one of the reasons. Now, interestingly enough, there are still challenges for if we let me just say it like this: Ethereum right now is not ready for mass adoption. What we want is we want all the billions of people that use the internet today to use blockchain-based applications, right? Blockchain-based social media, blockchain-based banking, like whatever is necessary. Um, in order for that to happen, we need super super fast blockchains. We need zero cost to transactions and stuff like that. Because again, we want all these. We don't want barriers to entry, right? Um, and because of that, there's multiple things that the industry has been doing. One of them is basically building layer twos blockchains on top of Ethereum. So how that
okay.
works is Ethereum is a foundational blockchain. It is only focused on being secure and safe. The downside of that is it is expensive to use and it's kind of slow. Well, it's not
Mm,
slow, but it's too slow for billions of people, right? So what one of the solutions that are being built right now is then layer two blockchains that are built on top of Ethereum. What they do is they bundle a bunch of transactions, stuff that needs to happen on the blockchain. They bundle that together, and then verify all of them together once on the main foundational layer blockchain, which is called Ethereum. These layer 2 blockchains are, in my opinion, very interesting. There you have Arbitrum, you have Optimism, you have IMX, Immutable. It's basically a layer 2 very much focused on gaming specifically. So you see that, and on top of that, we might see layer 3 blockchains or app specific blockchains. So it's going to be a web of different blockchains. But the goal, again, to go back to the earlier conversation, if we want the internet to be interoperable, meaning I can take my stuff everywhere, it needs to happen in the end on one foundational blockchain, which is called Ethereum.
Okay.
So yeah, but yes, there's other players out there that try to challenge Ethereum's dominance that it is right now. And again, when I say dominance, that might sound scary, but again, the Ethereum blockchain is not owned by anyone. Nobody can change anything on the blockchain, on the Ethereum blockchain. So yes, there's multiple others that try to do the same, or they call themselves maybe even something. There's a thing called Ethereum Classic. That's not really the real thing. There's a lot of other stuff. Solana's out there. They're going through a rough patch right now. So in the end of the day, if you want to be safe, this as safe as you can get, because this is not financial advice or legal advice or whatever, it is definitely Ethereum.
Okay. All right. I'll just say for whoever is listening to this that we are currently in the second half of 2023. That this is when this conversation is happening. I don't know when you'll be listening to this podcast, but just keep that in mind. This is second half of 2023. Okay. And so before I ask some more fundamental questions, just to know in terms of where we see AI going right now, is it uh, heavily influenced by the blockchain, or would it be influenced in a different way? So right now, everybody's using ChatGPT, and a host of other AIs have come to light around the same time. So how is it going to look the same or different when we get to where we would ideally want to be? If
Yeah, I
you
think
have an
there's
opinion.
yeah, no, of course. I mean, uh, the AI explosion is insane. Like the speed at which this is going is something we've never ever seen before. Um, I think there's a very big role for blockchain to play in this environment, and you see already that there's now use cases that the blockchain is just necessary in order to keep society safe. um, fake news and fake images and fake videos are already one example, a very easy example. And yes, there are people working on this. This is definitely not available right now. But how can we use a blockchain, for example, if you are a creator? So we are creating this podcast right now. If you would save this piece of content and on the blockchain, if then people would copy clips from this and change my voice and change my face, or change your voice and change what we said, promoting something else,
Mm-hmm.
that people can then verify, because it is not based on it doesn't come from the source that
Right.
you own. So you, as Samantha, you upload this podcast every time on the blockchain from a certain address, and if this clip that this person has seen is not marked with a little green mark or whatever, I can verify that this didn't come from the exact source of this podcast. So that's already a thing that where blockchain can definitely be crucial, even to keep our web safe.
Yeah.
Another thing is, if we talk about AIs, and we talk about them as our personal agents that can do all of our stuff on the web in the future, you want it to have a internet native, a digital native currency to work with, instead of giving it access to your bank account and to all your life savings and stuff. So even there, it's like you see the way blockchain is connected to AI in the future is going to play a big role. Of course, the adoption of it is different than what we see with AI right now. But I think the connection is fundamentally there, and one can help the other, hopefully.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. And I think that example, both the example with like the outfit if you go out, and the example of where this podcast will be, it really hits home. And I think yeah, that made it very clear the difference between the web right now. And yeah, so thank you very much, because I
Good.
do know, like, we see it all the time, right? Like an Instagram feed would repost a TikTok feed, and yes, you see a watermark, but I've also seen people zoom into the video to like block the watermarks from somewhere else. So it would make sense that you could verify where it comes from. So yeah, that um very, very helpful so far.
Good.
All right. So if let's say I go home for Christmas this year and I say, "Hey mom, let me tell you about um the blockchain and web3, when you have time you should go research it, learn about it, start to get acquainted with it." What are the steps you would tell someone to try to get familiar with it or learn about it in the best way, aside from listening to this episode, of course?
I mean, very good question. I think that the main medium that I follow myself is called Bankless. I think it's an incredible media platform that two gentlemen have launched, and I listen to all the content that they release. So if you are as intrigued by this as I am, then that's, to me, would definitely be the way to go. They are on podcasts. They are also on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok for some more snackable content. But yeah, then again, I think it's very important to know what type of sources you will follow. Like, I mean, to me, why Web3 and blockchain and crypto is that interesting is because it can make the world a better place. And not, I'm not here to just make money off it and flip JPEGs with NFTs and like, I mean, yes, it's a part of it. And of course, I invest personally in Ethereum because I believe in it and I want it to happen. But there's also influencers out there that only focus on flipping money, coins, and getting you in all this trouble, right? So it also depends like why you want to be invested in the space.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think again going back to Bankless, if your focus is to understand where this world is going, then that is a great source to start.
Okay. And like I told a few people I was going to have this episode, and we talked about the security, right? So we touched on the security of web3 and the blockchain, but what about the road to get there? Do you think we need to be extra cautious right now, or do you feel that the way that it's developing, like the way that Ethereum or the blockchain or web3, the way that we're progressing right now, is it already safe, or do you think that there is still dangerous influences that we might have to be mindful of?
I mean, you always have to be careful if you're going to use new technology, right? And this is still definitely new technology. And yes, like there's a lot of scams out there. Look at AI right now. The first thing that we're seeing is an explosion of scams and people trying to use the technology for the worst. So yes, we definitely have to be mindful of that. On the other hand, there's already examples of like big companies using blockchain technology to build new loyalty programs and launch collectibles. And the big example of that is Dot Swoosh by Nike, who sold 100,000 digital sneakers, and it's all blockchain based, right? And that's of course because it's Nike, it's going to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but until for now, yes, it's always good to do your own research and like don't get me wrong, the blockchain as a core technology still needs a lot of work in order to be ready for mass adoption, as I mentioned earlier. And part of that is that yes, it's still some stuff needs to be regulated. We're all waiting for regulation from the U.S. government in order for it to continue and to grow in the right directions. But yeah, there's so many misconceptions still that yes, there's still a lot of people that might make the wrong decisions and while engaging with this technology. So yes, doing your own research is still very very important. But if you get rewarded if you do that, right? Like that's the other the opposite of it. Like if you are again a person like myself or like you, I guess, who is interested in where the future is going, where hopefully the future is going, then it is worth diving into these things and trying to understand how to utilize it yourself or for your company or for your personal benefit, whatever it might be. But yeah, we always have to stay cautious.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so you touched on one company already that already uses the blockchain. You talked about Dot Swoosh. I remember when I visited, we talked about some other brands that had like a bag within, but it was with that was within
Roblox.
yeah,
It's Gucci.
yeah, Roblox. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So is that considered, selling stuff? No? Okay.
It is a good example though, because again, we talk about the metaverse and we talk about virtual environments. Like at the moment, not everything is decentralized, not everything is blockchain based. So currently, what we see happening in gaming and what we see in now the biggest virtual worlds, which are basically video games, Roblox, Fortnite, etc. Um, they are owned by centralized companies, right? So although yes, like kids and people spend enormous amount of times in there, that's why the trend is still very real. The only difference is we just hope that the next Fortnite will be built on blockchain rails instead
Mm,
of being owned by a company, just because it's more honest for us as consumers. So that Gucci bag that was sold on Roblox, yes, some people bought it, but if Gucci decides to, or Roblox decides to take it away because they don't like Gucci anymore, your bag is gone, right?
yeah. Okay. I understand. All right. Well, my last question for you is there anything you wish I asked you today? Something that we didn't touch on that you feel is crucial to wrap up this conversation?
Um, Not particularly. Like it's more. I hope the point came across that these technologies, in my opinion, like I think the goal for us. Like, sorry, let me start over. A technology is not good or bad in essence, right? It is how people use it that make it good or bad. And I personally am very much focused on okay, how can we use these technologies to make this world a better place? I do that through my role at Mediabunks, where we try to help our clients become launch digital products on chain instead of not, and etc. And I think that is yes, we see a lot of news out there, and mainstream media unfortunately still talks about crypto. If that the only thing it is an investment vehicle, and it's about losing money and making money and lose more money, it's all scam, etc., etc.
Mm,
But again, I really hope my point came across that this technology is here to make the world a little bit better and to make the internet a little bit more honest. And we didn't even touch upon like third world countries that are leapfrogging with this technology in terms of digital identity systems and funding and getting affordable loans in Africa, like all possible just because of crypto and blockchain, and not because of the system that is in place there right now. So it's unlocking potentially so much good in the world, and I guess that's what I'm here for. And yeah, I just wanted to reiterate that point to make sure that people understand that this is for good, and I'm not here to flip monkey pictures.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And, maybe I'll have you back to talk about some different applications soon, who knows, we'll see.
Who knows?
Well, thank you very much, Funds, for spending a little time with me and talking about this. I for sure understand a lot better now,
Good.
what the blockchain is, what Web3 is, and how it works together to try and make the internet a better place for everyone. So thank you very much. You can find Funds on LinkedIn, or I'll tag
LinkedIn
him
is the place.
in wherever on my social media. I'll tag him so you could find him if you want. But yeah, thanks so much.
The pleasure was mine. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.